Right, basically we made a video and we didn't do an introduction, so here's our introduction. We're going to make YouTube videos and this is the first one.
Yes. Thank you.
It's really boring.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Will, and this is...
I'm actually going to cry. You know what I think we should do?
What?
We should just start talking, and then over the video we have a little arrow saying your name.
Right.
Over me, you say my name.
The backstory of the house is that the previous owner, who had lived here for 35 years, had various physical and mental health issues and was a hoarder. So we could essentially like walk into a room and like peer over the boxes.
That's when we viewed it, not when we moved
When we
in.
viewed it, yes, yeah. And get kind of an idea of the state of each of the rooms. And then the reality was, when we turned up on moving day with 2 lorries of our things outside,
4 kids, a dog, a cat.
we realised there were many floorboards missing that we couldn't see when we viewed.
There was just a lot more damage than we had been led to believe. I feel like we need to touch on moving day. I personally had an idea of, like, we're talking like 2 weeks before when we exchanged. I thought to myself, we'll get there and me and Will will go in first because we had never seen it empty. Every time we viewed the house, there was an awful lot of stuff in every single room. There were parts of the house we had never even seen, i.e. the garden, the downstairs loo we'd never seen. We'd never even looked out of some of the windows. We couldn't actually get to the windows, so we didn't even know what it looked like from each like room.
What the
did
views
we?
were,
Yeah. So I had thought to myself, we'll go in on our own, have a quick look around, and then removal guys can come in, and like we had lots of family helping us, and then everyone can come in, it's all systems go. But actually when we turned up to move in, the previous owners were still here and still moving things out of the house, to which we then came across a lot of unexpected damage. And the removal guys couldn't move in any of our stuff into rooms where there were missing floorboards.
Yeah.
Pretty much every single room had missing floorboards, which we weren't aware of until that very moment.
Yeah, yeah. So this is like lunchtime, and obviously removals companies have certain hours that they want to work, so we had to think, how much of this can we get done by the time they need to clock off?
Yeah. Whilst I was having a complete meltdown out the front of the house, crying into the arms of the removal men. What have we done? Will was frantically ripping up floorboards from a room at the back of the house that we didn't need immediately. Yeah, to make whole rooms again.
Yeah, yeah.
Whilst my brother was sweeping frantically.
Yeah.
Checking
electrics.
Yeah. There was no ideal, like, we can come in and, like, take a video of, like, we really wanted to do a video of it, the whole house empty, and the house has literally never been empty. We moved in with a lot of stuff that was still here. They had, like, dressers in the hallway that they didn't move for about 2 weeks after we'd moved in. There was...
Obviously, there's, like, a lot of people would just say, well, just, you've moved in, we've exchanged contracts, it's your stuff now, which...
Yes, technically
rightfully,
it is.
We could have said. However, there was a bit of a balancing act, because the garden was still full of so much junk. One of the conservatory was piled with junk. It was overhead height, wasn't it? It was like...
It was literally to the second floor of the house.
Multiple skips worth of stuff. And so there was a balancing act of them being like, look, can you
live with this for a few
look
days.
after this massive wardrobe, this big cabinet, and we will clear the stuff. We were probably more forgiving and more accepting than some people because they did clear a lot of stuff in the end.
Without going too much into it, we bought the house when it wasn't on the market. We bought it privately. So we were dealing directly with the owner and the owner's family. So there was also a semi-personal relationship going on as well, like in the lead up to buying the house. So we felt like we couldn't just cut all ties but also we were moving in with 4 children and animals, and this was our family home.
Yeah. There was a discussion even had on moving day of like, and I think it was your brother was essentially like, we can't live here. He's like, you can't stay here. And I think you definitely had a moment of like, yeah, no, we can't. And I was very much of the opinion that we have our entire lives' possessions in this very unsecure house.
Yeah, I think there was like 4 points of entry on the first day that someone could get into without needing a key.
Yeah, so I was just like, well, I'm staying. Like we've got all of our stuff here. I'm staying. I was like, I don't care. I'll set up a airbed in the corner. In the end, we did stay, and
not with the kids.
Not
the
with
first
the kids,
couple
no,
of days.
They
just
had a
us.
few days away. Set up our bed in one of the only bedrooms. In fact, we spent a good amount of time cleaning that room. Me and Elsie did.
We basically scrubbed one bedroom.
Yeah, and we were like, this is going to be our
we'll
sanctuary.
just sleep here for a night or 2.
Yeah. Not that we actually slept. We essentially just
Do you remember
lay
that?
there the entire night.
We got 1 hour sleep.
Just wide awake, just absolutely wired. And partly for me, it wasn't anxiety. It was
it wasn't.
It was like this feeling of, I'm so excited to get up and like get
on.
And, like,
we were so excited.
Yeah. So it was, although there were mass stresses because there was so much we didn't realise, I think even amongst that, there was never a regret. It was right, we've got all this extra stuff to deal with, but we're going to deal with it, and I'm excited to get on.
Yeah,
my perspective.
Yeah, my fear beforehand, before we got the keys, we actually didn't ever get the keys. We had to change the locks. My fear was always that I would feel unsafe here. I don't know why. I think because it's the biggest house I've ever lived in, and when we viewed it, it didn't feel, I don't want to say it didn't feel homely, but I don't know. I was worried that I wouldn't feel safe here. There has not been a single time, apart from when random men come to the front door.
Yeah, trying to steal our scrap metal.
That I haven't felt safe in this house. So the first night where we were lying awake thinking of all the things, I still didn't feel.
No,
I didn't feel unsafe.
No, it was really peaceful. And
it was.
It was the middle of summer, so obviously it got light really early, and just like silly things like you kind of see the light, the sun coming up and the light coming through this like beautiful big sash window, and again it's like, oh my god, we live here now.
Yeah.
And it's like a very cool feeling.
Yeah, it was.
Rather than, oh shit, like we've
what have we done?
Gone from a perfectly plastered house with double glazing everywhere to this. What have we done? There's never been that that feeling.
We had the view of we were going to video absolutely everything before we moved in. That was kind of our take on it, and then the reality was actually things needed doing quickly. Things were worse than we thought they were going to be. So actually, we probably were a lot more stressed than we thought we were going to be, especially for the first sort of 3 months.
So this first video is a rundown of essentially what we have on our phones from the first 3 months. You'll notice this acro prop between us. This is one of the issues it was in our survey. We went for a level 3 survey, and it was in there, but it was just there looks like there's some movement in the bay window. It's going to need investigating more. So we kind of were aware there was some issue. We didn't quite realise how bad the issue was. So in the bay window above us was where the previous owner had like a big dresser, and obviously there were just piles of stuff, so the surveyor couldn't fully look at it. When everything was removed from that area, the floor was just like, it was like a trampoline.
Like concave,
it completely separated from the wall. It's like years and years and years of leaking water, rotting the end of the joists. So literally it was within like 3 days, wasn't it?
It was the second day. I think me and my mum went and bought some of these acro props off Facebook Marketplace to essentially hold the ceiling up. Yeah.
And then a year in, they are still very in place and were used for Christmas decorations.
Yeah. Very good tinsel.
And birthday decorations as well, so they've come in quite handy really. We also don't have any footage of it, but on the second night, obviously we're filthy, like scrubbing the house, moving stuff. On the second night, our shower fully seized open. It wasn't that it seized shut so we couldn't turn the water on, it was that it seized open so we couldn't put it off. So we had to isolate the whole house, and then I had to very quickly learn how to plumb in a new shower, having had no experience whatsoever with
the night before plumbing. We both had work.
Oh yes, yeah. So that was fun.
Yeah, that was great.
We'd gone from a house with 2 relatively big sheds and a greenhouse to it's like an overgrown jungle essentially. There is a garage, but the garage is completely filled with junk, so inaccessible.
On day one,
yeah. So we spent a lot of the first couple of weeks just hacking away at the garden, clearing space so that we could get all that outdoor stuff.
Well, we had to put all of the things that we couldn't fit in the house into storage. Yeah, basically every available space that we thought, oh, we'll put the bike shed there or we'll do this here, was either covered in brambles, had a lot of stuff in that was left here. We haven't even touched on the fact that so much was left when we moved in. Yeah. It's kind of hard to go into it without going into it too much. But also, it was a massive part of the first 6 months was essentially dealing with the previous owner's lack of I don't even know how to say it. Yeah. Dealing with stuff.
We also had no idea how big the garden was when we moved in. We kind of had a vague idea from obviously looking at Google Maps and they call
like the drawings.
Yeah.
Land registry.
Land registry, that's the one. So we kind of had an idea, but that's very different from actually standing in a garden and seeing it and knowing how big it is. So one of the evenings, I think it was within the first week, we literally set it as a bit of a challenge to hack our way to the very back of the garden just to see how far back it went. And also we didn't know what the back of the garden was.
Yeah, the boundary, we didn't know.
A fence or like horrible chain link or what it turned out to be, which was a nice, a relatively nice brick wall, so we were quite pleased with that.
Yeah, very happy with that.
The first few weeks definitely it felt like, because it was summer holidays as well, felt like a bit of a adventure playground kind of thing for the kids, just like allowed to run feral essentially, because there's like everything that they could possibly damage was kind of stuff we needed to get rid of anyway, so it didn't really matter.
We were basically dealing with a plot of land that had been neglected for 35 years or more. Things had been cut down previously, I think, from what a few people had said, but the majority is sycamore trees, which are incredibly invasive. Or are they?
Yeah.
Someone said they weren't.
Well, they're not fully. They're not
classed as invasive.
No, but then they're a bit of a weed of a tree.
Yeah, a lot of buddleia, which is invasive, and a lot of bindweed and a lot of brambles. That was kind of, there was no garden that had been made nice that had then just overgrown. It was literally like going into a overgrown woodland, really, wasn't it?
But alongside with it being like a fun place for the kids to explore, there were dangers. There's 2 overgrown, completely fallen down, rotted conservatories on both sides of the house, one of which still has very old glass in it, which is not very safe. So a part of those first few weeks was making the house feel safe and, obviously patching up the remaining holes in floorboards. We were sort of balancing wanting to get on with fixing up the house with just needing to make it a safe and secure environment as well. We inherited a very sketchy old ladder which was propped up at the front of the house, and so we used that to have a look at the roof. We knew the roof would need doing at some point.
Yeah.
We weren't quite sure what the level of damage was, and then when we got up there we realised it was like not just we can patch it and then save up for a few years and then get it done. It was like this
needs to be done immediately.
Yeah, there was a section of the roof where 2 of the rafters had entirely rotted through, so just part of the roof was unsupported, like floating. Buckets of water in the corners of some of the rooms.
Multiple rooms, there were leaks, yeah.
And one of the main issues with this was the second biggest bedroom upstairs was the worst damaged, and we really needed to make use of that space, and we wouldn't be able to use that space until the roof was done. So when we looked at it, we thought actually this is something we urgently need to do. So that was like our first main big decision of the house, was to get the roof fixed up. Yeah,
it kind of meant that a lot of things that we had thought, oh, we'll get X, Y, Z done, or we'll get the lounge done, or like before Christmas, or all those things, that actually there was no point doing anything below the roof until the roof was done, because there were that many leaks and that many problems that were caused by the roof, that anything below the roof that we had done, we didn't do work on, would just get damaged until the roof was done. We had like a very, very wet autumn last year as well. There was so much rain that, it just would have been a really stupid idea to do anything internal on the house until the roof was done. So that kind of put us
on hold.
For a long time, while we had to get quotes and we had to get scaffolding up and all those things.
But I think once we've made that decision, it settled us on not doing anything too big in the house for the sort of remainder of this 3-month block of time.
Yeah.
We spent a bit of time clearing the conservatories on both sides of the house. Found a frog who became our pet frog for all of a week, until he sadly hopped out and disappeared and we haven't seen him again. Hoping we can get a frog back in there one day. When we moved in, there was a window in the kitchen at the back of the house, which was it just like a bit of cardboard was wedged in there. There was just cardboard, so
like chipboard.
Yeah, but it wasn't secured. So if anyone wanted,
no, it was just leaning against a hole.
Yeah, if anyone wanted to get into the house, they could have just crawled their way in. So on day one, we had like a leftover shelf from a kitchen cabinet, and we screwed that in so it was secure. But obviously you don't want to be staring at a leftover bit of kitchen cabinet every day. So that was quite a fun little project, cutting the glass and putting a new windowsill in. Yeah, it was a nice little afternoon project, that one, just to get some daylight back into that side of the kitchen.
Yeah.
And then, yes, we decided to purchase a electric chainsaw, which we have a love-hate relationship with. Which, that's certainly helped with a lot more of the bigger garden clearance. We've got some proper established trees in there. Again, nothing of value really. We're not going to leave it as like some
AstroTurf
wasteland.
We are going to replant trees.
we just don't want sycamore everywhere.
Trees,
So the chainsaw allowed us to really get on with the clearance, and even now it's quite funny looking back at the video of when we went into the garden. We're like, whoa, look how clear it is, and it's like you've just got a tiny square of sunlight coming in compared to what it is now, which we'll obviously eventually get to. It was quite funny seeing how impressed we were at our progress at the time. And
we also got a chipper.
The chipper, which is nicknamed the Chomper, which is super handy. I think
that might have been the first thing we bought.
It was, that was within the...
I think it was literally, within the first week. The start of our relationship with Screwfix.
Yes, probably.
Not sponsored.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Towards the end of the 3-month block that we're covering today, we got the scaffolding up towards the end of September. So that allowed us to have a really good look at the roof and confirmed absolutely 100% we needed the roof doing, and we made the right choice. We'd also got someone booked in to steam clean all the paint which had been painted on the front of the house. That paint had caused a lot of damage to the old brickwork. It was also hiding a lot of sins that we still need to sort out.
Yeah, it was like plastic paint almost, like wrapped around the front of the house.
Yeah, not what you want. But before they could start work, we needed to get rid of this very old, very established ivy, which was growing up next to the front door. It had grown into our bathroom windows, grown into the door frame, and it was that big it had gone up onto the roof and even across like the side of the house. At the very top. It's absolutely massive.
We were dreading taking it all down, but actually it wasn't that bad.
No, it really wasn't too bad. But what we were worried about was we thought there was almost like a symbiotic relationship between the ivy and the window. We thought they were both kind of holding each other in place, and if one got damaged, they would both get damaged, and the window would just fall to pieces as soon as the ivy was ripped out, which didn't end up the case. However, the window was unfortunately sacrificed when I tried to remove the glass plane. The pane of glass had literally like fallen, and this is like over our front door, and we were just thinking any day now it's just gonna fall. And
actually multiple windows in this house were being held up by hangers.
Yeah, clothes hangers we used to just support.
No, we didn't. They did.
Oh. Yeah. So the next section is more getting the roof work done, which obviously we didn't do ourselves. All the lead work redone, repointing a bit of a chimney and things higher up that we could then access from the scaffolding, and then starting the loft clearance, which was a very arduous task. But we found some interesting things.
Yeah, we did find some cool treasures, although we didn't video any of it.
No, but we still have those treasures. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more fun.